making our Christmas memories. I've been working so much lately, I can barely find the time to sleep. Yeah, I spend my time running around, keeping people pleased. But this is my favorite holiday. It's a chance to start over new. Cause I missed you so I'm letting go of everything but you. These are the good times with you. Baby, this year it's just gonna be you and me. Hang by the fire and chill. Isn't this how it's supposed to be? Making our Christmas memories. Oh, and I've been longing to hold you close. Forget about everyone else. Isn't this how it's supposed to be? Making our Christmas memories. Oh, oh, la da da da, oh, oh, la da da da, oh, oh, la da da da. Making our Christmas memories. I've been wrapping presents for you. I've been hanging marbles in the tree. And I've lit my house with Christmas lights. So you should come back home to me. And when we wake up in the morning, I'm gonna play those carols that you love. We'll be singing all the melodies until the sun comes up. These are the good times with you. Baby, this year it's just gonna be you and me. Hang by the fire and chill. Isn't this how it's supposed to be? Making our Christmas memories. Oh, and I've been longing to hold you close. Forget about everyone else. Isn't this how it's supposed to be? Making our Christmas memories. Oh, oh, la da da da, oh, 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 la da da da. Making our Christmas memories. Yes, these are the good times with you.
Welcome back to another HNL Tonight show with the hockey coach guru called FRENCHY directly from the beautiful country of Thailand. And we have to find our co-host directly for the beautiful country, not country, but the town, Ottawa, Mr. MARKO LARABIE. Welcome back in the house tonight.
Yes, sir, Monsieur FRENCHY. Very exciting night tonight. Special night tonight, Coach.
I know. First of all, we know we have a special guest. That's the great news about this. Maybe that's the present of the Christmas we have earlier. So that's great to having her aboard. And then we have 12 games in action around the league. So, you know, a lot of things to talk about tonight for sure. We're going to be with her the next 60 minutes. So we welcome everybody. We already have a lot of people in the chat. So we welcome a few people. Just quickly, Mr. MARKO, Nicolas de Gobi-Bono, DANY T, Luciano Graziano. We have Anim directly from Michigan. Another woman, she's inside the house. We have a Double J. We have Tap, Jose Duarte, internet user. We have Dan Asham from Winnipeg. A real deal, no deal is in the house. Chicago Bear is another one. Run with Kings. Melissa Zabran from the Florida State, and Jose Duarte I mentioned. So everybody, welcome aboard. Thanks to be a part of the show tonight.
It's a good crowd to start. So, listen, today, Coach, we're really, really excited. As you know, like Habs Twitter, you know, maybe I'm biased, right? But it's one of the best hockey communities on Twitter, I think. Like, we have some spicy fans out there, but no one, I think, is spicier than Chili Pepper, also known as Veronica. So we're really excited to welcome Veronica. to our show, to Hockey Nation. Very, very excited. Welcome, Veronica. Definitely one of the spiciest Habs Twitter people out there from the Happy Hour on here on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining us. It's going to be so much fun. You're such a fun follow on Twitter. So thanks for joining us tonight.
Oh, I really appreciate it. And thank you so much for inviting me on. This is a treat. I've never done a live show before, so this is really cool and nice to finally speak to you in person, Marko. We've been following each other for so long and meeting you, Coach. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So listen, Veronica, I can say like we're very lucky to have the type of community that we have here at Hockey Nation Live. Like we literally have people from all over the world, like people from all over Canada. As you heard, when Coach was introducing people all across Canada, the US. We have people in Finland, Europe, coaches in Thailand. We have people in Japan, Taiwan. So literally everywhere in the world, right? So, and the thing that makes it really special is that even though in this day and age, right, with so much kind of controversy and all kinds of different stuff happening, the beautiful thing about this place is we all get together and talk about one thing we all agree on, or we can still disagree, but it's a thing we all care about, which is hockey, right? So it's a really special community. So for us, it's really great. And that's the reason why I thought it would be such a great idea for you to come on, because you're like a perfect fit into our mosaic of what this show and then what this channel is, right? Because for those of you who don't know, Veronica is this Latina female that lives in Vancouver. So probably the last person that you would expect to be a huge Habs fan, but many other people, that we have in our chat, it's the one thing that unifies us, right? So Veronica, I'd love to hear kind of like a little bit of a story about how did you end up, becoming a Habs fan, and, with your background, like it's just so interesting to me. It's similar, like we've seen a lot online. There's, I forget what her name is, right? But there's that Leafs fan that's from like Scotland, right? Like it's so interesting to see those stories about how, so we'd love to hear more about kind of how you came to be a Habs fan.
Yeah, for sure. So it's a short story. I was born in Chile. That's where my name comes from, or my Twitter name anyway. But I was born there. My family moved to Montreal, to Canada. Montreal was our first landing spot from there when I was very young. And so like before I could like really even speak, so I don't even remember Chile from, just like tiny little memories. Anyway, so my family moved to Montreal, and that was it. Like I have two brothers, and the three of us in school, like I don't know if you grew up in the Montreal area, both of you, I guess. But so, it's,
I'm from Ottawa,
it's just a thing. Yeah. We lived in Ottawa too for a while, but our first landing spot was Montreal. And so then, hockey is a religion at school, at recess, hockey cards, Monday morning, the teacher talks about the game on the weekend, all that stuff. Like it's impossible not to become a part of, not to have it become a part of you. And so always, I've always been a Habs fan, and, moved around a lot after that, lived in a couple of different countries, many different cities. And, like now I'm living here. Like I was telling you guys, I'm in Port Moody, which is just outside Vancouver. It's just part of the lower mainland here. And people say, well, why don't you cheer for the Canucks? And for years and years, I was just like, no, I mean, you don't start being a fan of a different team just because you changed addresses. So that's how I've been a Habs fan since, my whole life. And also, too, Marko, from living out here, NHL fan, like people love hockey all over Canada, and they love their hockey in BC, but not everybody is like so into the NHL and so into their NHL teams. It was almost weird for me to get used to when I came here. Like, what? There's a Canucks game on. How come you're not watching it? Like, what's wrong with you? But and so my boyfriend, he and I have been together for a long, long time. He went with me. Like first of all, when we first started dating, I said to him, we've got to have the talk. And I had to tell him, I watch. I'm a big Habs fan. I watch all the games, and he's like, "How many games?" I'm like, "82 games a season."
82
Like,
games. Yeah. You got to have
you
the
know,
talk.
you
Yeah,
had
like
to have
my
the
whole
talk.
marriage is my whole marriage is based around the talk. Like there would almost be no
Yeah,
marriage without the talk. Yeah, of course. I
yeah.
agree. Totally understand.
And so he would be like, he and his friends just, they were kind of like they'd never, met somebody who was like so into their hockey team and into hockey and everything else. They always kind of thought it was like, wow. But then he went with me to a Habs game in Montreal. It was Habs Bruins. It was that game. Oh my God, 2012 maybe, that
Cool.
Emmeline ran into Lucic, and then he
Ooh.
was out for like a year and a half. I was at that game.
Oh man. Wow.
But
Wow.
but
Yeah, like
he,
I was always so nervous when that happened because we all knew that Emlyn had that like plate in his face
yes,
and always like made you
yes.
nervous when he was like. And by the way, did Emlyn, is he allowed to go near microwaves because he has that plate in his face, right?
He
Like
has that
that's
whole, yeah. Good question.
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, we should ask that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
But anyway,
yeah.
like that,
No, that's
all
great.
that to say
Yeah,
is that when we walked into the Bell Center and the whole atmosphere in the city that day, Habs Bruins in Montreal Saturday night, like once we finally got into the Bell Center, he looked at me and he said, "Okay, I understand now. Like everybody
that's
is the
awesome.
same. I'm
Yeah,
I'm not a weirdo. In Montreal, I fit in."
that's so true. There are so many differences. I remember another subtle difference when I moved to Vancouver is I don't know if you've noticed this, but people in Vancouver call movies shows, and they call
Yeah.
shows, TV shows, movies. Do you ever notice that? Like,
Oh,
it was really weird. I was People would say, "Hey, like, oh yeah, we should go watch that. I can't wait to see that show," but they were talking about like a movie. That was
yeah,
very
a
confusing.
movie.
So it's very subtle
Yeah.
cultural differences.
There's a
Yeah, no, that's
lot.
great.
Yeah, across Canada, there's all kinds of cultural differences. And also calling lunch dinner,
Yeah, that's a weird one.
right? And then
Yeah,
they call supper, no, supper, lunch is dinner. And then I don't know what, but it was always very confusing. For me, it's always just lunch and supper.
yeah. So that's awesome. That's a great origin. So if you were a Marvel villain, like that's kind of your origin story about how you became a Habs fan. So I think there's a lot of people that can relate to that. Like we all kind of have that origin story. A lot of it is usually based around childhood, right? Like I know Coach has told many great stories about kind of how he discovered the Habs when he was a kid. Same thing with different eras, but kind of all a unifying story, right? So okay, so you're this Habs fan. You move. You're able to kind of have the talk and still be able to kind of have it be a big part of your life. Now, so at what point, like, did you start to get really active, in the Habs community? Like, obviously, you're pretty active on Twitter, and then you have your Happy Hour show on YouTube. Like, maybe tell us about the Happy Hour show. Like, how did it come about? You guys look like you have so much fun recording these, so maybe tell us a bit about the show and kind of what the process is like for you guys, and anxious to hear about kind of how the sausage is made in the background a little bit.
Yeah, so kind of a two-part question there. So like how did I kind of get involved in the community? And it was just, like right around at the beginning of Twitter. I didn't really know how to use it. I really didn't know, what I was there for. I was kind of used to Facebook at that time, so the whole concept of Twitter was kind of weird to me. And then
Mm-hmm.
for whatever reason, I came across Habs fans. And for me, I was so starved for that living out here. Like other fans that get it, like until then, it had only been my brothers that I could talk to about the Habs. And so then I just started getting really involved and just kind of on Twitter and making friends. And that's back when Twitter was really fun. There was a time when Twitter was really fun.
There was a time.
And yeah, there was a time. And so, yeah, that's kind of how it just all came to be. And then, so Dave, who is, the ideator of the whole Happy Hour podcast, I met him on Twitter, and I met Beth on Twitter through Dave. We had never met in person. And it was, what year was it? I think it was the season right after the PK Subban trade.
Ooh,
That was
that's a
just
yeah, that's a spicy
oh yeah,
season. Lots of conversations going on that year for sure.
lots of conversations, lots of rage, lots of infighting, lots of craziness.
Yeah.
You couldn't turn anywhere to hear, like, you know, nothing was positive, or like not even positive, but even like pleasant. Like it was such a tiring season. And so Dave reached out to me and he said, because, you know, he and Ashley and I, Allure on Twitter, even though she's not really there anymore, we with Beth thought, like, we were always talking in the background, and like we couldn't even talk to anybody on Twitter because everybody was just so crazy and unreasonable and like out of control, you know, calm down. So we were talking on the side, and then Dave thought, what if we did a podcast? And we were like, that would be cool. And so one weekend we just all got on a group call, and we just to kind of see how it would work, and we enjoyed it a lot. And you know, nothing was scripted or planned other than, you know, a couple of the songs that we wanted to use. But to this day, our script is precisely the same as our very first episode, which was completely unplanned. It was basically just a conference call between friends, and that's kind of the format that we've kept it at for. It's going to be 5 years in March. 5 years.
Wow, that's great. That's insane. That's what I've noticed about the show is that when you watch at the beginning, like, you know, our show has this like fancy introduction, which is great, but yours, it's like literally it's just the show starts and there's already conversation. Like I think it cuts in and there's already so it's like we're just joining a conversation that's already ongoing. It's a very cool effect, right? Like it's kind of like you're letting, you know, the viewers into your conversation, and then it just kind of flows from there. And the music that you guys choose is very much in line with the name of the show, which is it has like a happy connotation, right? Like happy hour, and I believe like you guys have like a turtle song or something like that as a theme song. On Get Happy, so really great theme, and like so yeah, you guys have a lot of fun with it. And 5 years, I say I didn't go all the way back. I haven't watched the whole catalog. I'm not, you know, I won't lie and say I've watched the whole catalog, but you know, that's impressive, Coach. 5 years. So Hockey Nation Live has been around 3 years.
Yeah, we are right now 2.5. So we're going to be August 25th. Will be complete our 3rd year. So yeah, it's really fun to do it, and I can understand what you're doing, and it's really nice to having you aboard. We have a few people show up, Mr. Marco, and then we want to welcome back them. William McClary is here. And by the way, we have someone from Colombia. So it's great to see someone from Colombia, so South America. That's pretty cool to see that. The 13 rookie is in the house. By the way, Veronica, we have Randy Walkman said, Coach, tell her fan blocker, say hi to her. So I just want to tell you about him. He said hi to you. And then we have, of course, more people pop up at some point. Stu is back in the house. Welcome back, Stu. And if you have any questions, guys, don't forget to put the letter Q in front of your question so we can ask those questions. So, Marco, you can continue to ask a question.
Sure. Awesome. So, yeah. So, again, like, great job on the pod. Like, you know, I'll commit, you know, several hours and try to watch more of the back catalog there. But so, listen, let's get down to business. You know, Veronica, it is a Habs channel. So, you know, listen, you're a subject matter expert. You've got your finger on the pulse of Habs Twitter. As you can imagine, it's been a pretty crazy season, right? Like, I've been with the channel with Coach here since the summer, since before just right after the draft, and we've had so many. It's like fertile ground for so many amazing discussions that we've had so far, right? And so we would love it, and I'm sure everybody in the chat would love to get your takes on some of the kind of hotter kind of topics that we've covered so far. I'm sure you guys have covered a lot of these, but yeah, I'd love to kind of get your take, kind of put you on the hot seat a little bit with some of these questions. Good place to start, I would say, is Slafkovsky, right? So curious kind of where you stand on that. Are you kind of on the Slafkovsky should be getting a lot more ice time side, or he should be going to the World Juniors or maybe even back to Laval kind of side of that debate?
Neither side.
Okay.
I'm really, really impressed with Slavkovsky's progress this season so far. Like I was just telling somebody the other day, don't forget he's 18 years old. Like he just got his braces off, you know? So right, so he's and like and he's got all of this size and this brawn and everything else, but he's still 18 years old. So you kind of have to, like, you're put into the NHL with all the big guys and all the veterans, like he was talking about. Oh my god, am I dreaming? I'm playing Ovechkin, the next day I'm playing Crosby, like just insane, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff that goes into that. There's maturity level, there's a confidence level, there's just an emotional intelligence level. I think that he's got all of those things. I think he uses his size well, and I just to say I am completely on board with the coaching staff's plan for Slavkovsky and how it's worked out well so far. He just got another point last night. I'm completely
Arguably
pleased.
his best game, I would say. Arguably his best game last game, I would say. The two ones against Calgary, I would say. Yeah.
2-1.
You're right. Like,
in the shootout.
like, let's be honest, right? Like a year ago, this guy is, microwaving burritos, living by himself in Finland, away from family. And 1 year after, he's in Montreal, like a rock star. Like, honestly, like at that age, Veronica or Coach, do you think you could have handled yourself that well? Like, I wouldn't trust myself in that kind of scenario
Absolutely
at all.
not.
So, yeah. Coach, were
Especially with a lot
you
of-
very responsible? Were you very responsible when you were 18 years old? You think
Really,
you could have
really a
handled
lot.
all the?
Really a lot at that
Yeah,
time.
I could see that.
Yeah,
could see
I
that.
wasn't this, play hockey, but I don't think so. I was follow his the same way he's doing, but he's doing a good job. The key about him is like he left home at 13 years old. Well, I left me too at 14, but he become more responsible and more mature earlier because he had to take care about himself. But he was live alone, and at a young age, he fix his food, everything. So it's pretty cool to see that his how he does there now with the Montreal Canadiens.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's it. I think you're bang on. Like, you could debate like, he was on the fourth line a little long. Like they're a bit slow giving him some of those power play minutes, I think, but it's coming along. It's a great opportunity now that he's had. Like, I really like the spot that they have him in now. So I'm with you on that. I don't understand the idea of wanting to send him down to the World Junior Championship. I just don't understand what he would gain from doing that. Been there, done that.
No, I mean,
so
he's
another.
not
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, he's not a world
okay, go
beater,
ahead.
but he's progressing so well for somebody his age. I don't see any need to just leave him with his NHL team and this group that they're kind of they're growing closer every day. Like World Juniors,
Yeah.
he's got a different pathway ahead of him.
For sure, bigger fish. So here's a good one. We were debating this one. We do a show every Sunday. It's called Habs Brunch every Sunday. This was kind of one of the conversations that we were having is around Doc, right? So a lot of people are debating, so is Doc really a center or is he a winger? Right now Monahan is injured. So St. Louis has him, kind of play, he announces that, okay, he's going to play center for the next game. Only really plays there for a period and a half, and then boom, they go right back to him back on the top line. How do you feel they're like? So first of all, do you think Doc will be a center? And B, do you think they manage that properly? Like, would you want him to just play a set of games at center so that the Habs can kind of see what they have there?
See, and this is where, like, I don't have an inner coach in me. And I love this player. I really love Kirby Dach. And as long as he is fine with the responsibility, it's just kind of like a Gallagher. He'll play wherever. He'll play with whatever line mates. He'll just do his thing. And I find that he's I saw that a lot of people at the draft in Montreal during the summer when Romanov got traded, when they heard what was coming back, a lot of people were extremely excited. You're right. And I didn't realize that he's so young. He's the
Yeah.
same
It
age as
sounds
Nick
like it's.
Cole, and I thought he was
He
older.
seems like he's been around forever, but he's not. Yeah. He's like 21.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I'm fine with wherever he is. I think that Martin St. Louis is a very romantic coach. Like he's very he's very in tune with how his players are feeling and how they're going to be feeling, and what they need and all that stuff. And even though he's not like a grizzled NHL coach, I think that he's so good for this group of kids.
I've never heard someone refer to him as romantic, but I totally get what you mean for sure. Definitely, like
Yeah.
you're talking about social intelligence, right? Like Martin Saint Louis has social intelligence, like at a very elite level for sure.
Yes.
So another good one. There's a lot of conversations around this, but maybe just give us kind of like your overview, like on, there's a lot of rookies in the lineup this year, so maybe tell us which rookies have stood out the most to you so far this year, like who's impressed you the most out of, most of them being on defense and Slafkovsky. You've already talked about Slafkovsky, so maybe kind of like an overview of the young decor.
Number one, Arbor Jackeye.
Number one,
Arbor Jackeye. Number one for me.
Over Gooley.
Is this his rookie year? Shit.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's okay.
So this so yeah, maybe a tie between the two of them. They're so different, right? Like Jackeye, he's so passionate, and Gooley is just like a robot, He's just unflappable and unemotional and just all business. Whereas Jackeye, as we know, he's a little bit emotional, but he can also score a goal. And he leads rookies in goals in the NHL, or last I looked.
For a defenseman, yeah.
Yeah, but I love his passion. I love Jackeye's passion, and of course, Caden Gooley is, you can't say enough about him. Very, 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 very fortunate to have drafted that player.
But it says a lot that for a minute you didn't even remember that Gooley was a rookie, right? Because that's how kind of adultish he is, like, and how mature he is, that you almost forget that he's a rookie because of how much poise he has, right? So it makes sense, right? Like he's not, like, when you say the word rookie, that's not the guy he's not a prototypical guy, that doesn't have a lot of poise, right? So, we have like a very much a Jackeye fan club in this chat for sure. Sometimes it's funny though, because it seems like a band-aid solution to everything. Like, oh, we lost 4-1 and Jackeye wasn't in the line. If ever we lose and Jackeye didn't play, for sure that's the only reason Jackeye could also cure, world hunger and fix climate change. Like, Jackeye is awesome, but he's maybe not like like the cure for everything that that Ailsley has. But listen, like we're pretty big Arbor fans here as well too, for sure. So very exciting rookie core, absolutely. So now, I don't think Coach will be upset if I say this, but Coach is a very big Mike Hoffman fan. Very, very, very big Mike Hoffman fan. So, we've had many debates here about whether Hoffman, because with Doc going back down to play center, who would come up and play on the top line if Doc is not going to play there? So do you think Hoffman has the potential to play on the top line, or what are your thoughts on Mike Hoffman? And by the way, Coach is wincing because he's not a huge Mike Hoffman fan. I'm just
Oh, he's not. Oh, I see. I really like Mike Hoffman. He's like, whatever it was that was ailing him, he seems to have found his stride recently. I was so happy that game that he got the hat trick, because people are very hard on him. And so that also makes me tend to lean towards defending. Like Mike Hoffman, he's a good hockey player. He's in the NHL, obviously. Can he be full-time on the top line? I don't know. It would take a lot for me to kick one of those guys off the top line. But he's his special teams or on the power play, he's dynamic, and he has his uses. And I certainly don't, I understand how people were hard on him, but I'm a fan of his. And I like, it's clear that his teammates like him, and he seems to, as far as social media goes, it seems that he might have a good sense of humor about himself.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
know,
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
So, Coach,
because it's not easy in Montreal.
just to give context, Coach, go ahead and explain your, for those who don't remember, kind of what your positioning was on Mike Hoffman, because I
Oh,
think you align pretty closely with what Veronica's saying.
yeah, the point is like, I work a lot with analytic number and underlying number and everything, the reason why. And every time Mike Hoffman play on the first line, about that line, he's the best winger since the beginning the season under like Kirby Doc to play with that line. And that's the reason I was mentioned about Mike Hoffman should be with that line versus Josh Anderson, where they struggle every time when they play together with that first line. So it was for me the best players to be there. Now I would say, like I said yesterday, I make another video where I believe it's maybe the chance the Sarkozy stop up over there with that line at some point. Not said for 20 games, but maybe to use him like yesterday. Have an amazing, great game. Why not to use Sarkozy on power play? Why not to use him on shootout? Everything like that. So for me, with Mike Hoffman, back to Mike Hoffman, I think Montreal does not use him properly. The right share power play does not he play on the defenseman. He's been for 10 years scoring 30 goals on the top circle. And I think for me, that's what Montreal does not use Mike Hoffman properly for what he signed up at $4.5 million to score goal on power play. Again, I think he have a better year what we expect. And I think the Montreal fans, you look like you've been a very good, really deep with the Montreal Canadiens. Love the blue-collar players like the Gallagher, the players like Albert. You just talk about Jacquard, the one work hard and they go for checking and back checking and they hit everything like that. And I think that's not who is Mike Hoffman, like many other players, like Joel Amir is another one, and I can go all the way like that. But I think for me, Mike Hoffman fit the top 6 player for the Montreal Canadiens, whatever it is with Sean Monahan or with Cole Caulfield and Nick Suzuki.
There you go. Now we're all on the record. We're all on the record
Yeah.
with Mike Hoffman.
Yeah,
for sure.
Exactly. About that one over there. We have a few questions in the chat. I don't know if you want to go there, Marco, or if you prefer to go, since I have more questions for Veronica.
No, go for it. Let's jump into the chat for a bit, and I still have a couple more, but we can jump into the chat for a bit.
I think some of them maybe, I know you said you look like Martin Saint-Louis romantic, but can you give us the thought on Martin Saint-Louis, things you like and don't like about what he's doing overall since the beginning of the season, maybe since he was hired in last February?
Yeah, so when he was hired last February, I don't know about anybody else. Like, I mean, I did see a rumor online, but when it was announced that he was selected to coach, I was just like, what's going on? Like, and then the joke became, he used to coach Pee Wee. And so, but Martin Saint-Louis, he is precisely what I was saying earlier, what this group of kids needs. And not only that, and not just the kids, also the veterans, he's a legend. So they grew up watching him. And so, yes, he might not coach, but he was such a passionate, spirited, just like a dynamic player during his whole career too. And so he still has that player mentality. I just think that what I have liked about it is that, Dominique Ducharme, he had his detractors as well, but, the rumors were that, he was too hard on the kids. And so Martin Saint-Louis came in and he identified that these kids are going to be the future of the team. He knows who they are, not going to be too worried about the veterans, Jeff Petrie, who was so unhappy. It looked like every day somebody ran his dog over. So, not worried so much about the veterans, because these kids are the guys that I'm bringing up with me, so Cole, Nick, Dak, Caden Gooley, all of that stuff. So he gets into their mind. He makes them feel good. He's not I can't see him being one of these coaches that goes in and screams at them, in between periods. I think he's just the perfect, like, I do understand what Kent Hughes was trying to accomplish here, because he was quite, Martin St. Louis, that's my guy, period, the end. And so I like what's going on, and it's clear that they really enjoy him as a coach. There's nothing really that I don't like about Martin, except for that sometimes I'm a little bit insecure about his coaching pedigree.
Right. Well, an interesting kind of question that coach has been bringing up, which is one of the questions that I had, is there's a lot of conflicting priorities this season with the Habs, right? Like management's been very clear that the biggest priority is development, right? Progressing and developing. But when you really look at kind of the actual games and how St. Louis is coaching, there's no question that he's coaching to win, right? Like there's situations where he could be putting players in positions maybe to develop them even more, but it's clear that he's making coaching decisions to win, right? So how do you feel about that, right? Because there's a lot of conflicting priorities. So there's progressing the kids and developing the kids. There's the other priority is to have a winning culture, which doesn't always jive with the first one. And then the third one, which is probably the biggest conflicting priority, is to showcase veterans that they're trying to increase their value in trade. So how do you give ice time to Dadonov, to Anderson, potentially Monahan, all those guys, give them enough ice in situations that they'll be able to make themselves look good while also doing everything else. So how do you feel he's balancing that?
Well, I think that he's balancing it in his own way, and it's not necessarily the way that a lot of people approve of. I see a lot of people that are finished with the Dadonov experiment, for example. But I think that what he's prioritizing, and it's interesting to me because before the season began, he did say, I'm coaching. I'm not coaching to win. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, yeah, right. Martin St. Louis loves winning. His players love winning. So it's not so much the winning culture, but I was expecting an extremely painful year. And even though, we're just hovering at around 500, I've been really entertained. I can point to maybe 2 or 3 games that I thought, it's not happening tonight. And I don't even want to finish watching this. Other than that, they've been really entertained. Is so excited about the Cole Caulfield, Nick Suzuki combination. You get so excited when they're on the ice together because something's going to happen. And the two of them are just so they're just perfect. Like keep them together forever. Period. But yeah. It's not necessarily we want to win all the time, but winning is fun. And the camaraderie is important. And, building what they've got, when you see every winner at the end of, May every year, every winner, those guys have gone to battle together and they'll fight for each other. And so that's what you want to create. You want to have that, come playoff time, and you just want to have it, period, because it's so important to have. That's what I find was more important for me than anything this year. And not too shabby, couple points shy of a wild card spot. That's not exactly where people expected for them to be.
Definitely not, for sure.
I have a more question, there, Marko, for someone, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
And it comes a bit what you talked a little bit earlier, but someone asked you, Veronica, do you believe Hugo will do what he's going to do at the trade deadline if he makes some trade? If he does, who do you believe he will trade at the trade deadline?
I do not know. Those are one of the conversations that I'm really bad at having because I'm not like a capologist or like an armchair GM. Like my son keeps on trying to get me into these conversations that I just don't, I'm not good at. I just think, Josh Anderson, people really like that player and really hate him from other teams, and that they'd love to have him on their team. That's the one that people seem to think is kind of a given that's going to be happening at the trade deadline. But I'm for me, for my personal sanity, I just take it game by game. I'm right there with the players, game by game. Forget the last one, think about the next one. And then, whatever happens at the trade deadline, we'll deal with that when the time comes. But for the time being, I'd like to see these guys get some more wins under their belts and having a lot of fun.
Sweet. Someone asking you about your best player, maybe the player you like the most, and the player the most disappointed since the beginning of the season for the Montreal Canadiens.
Since disappointed, well, obviously my I love Cole Caulfield, but Nick Suzuki he's my favorite. He's my favorite player. He's such a joy to watch, and he's so smart and crafty and talented and just skilled and makes it look easy. Like, how many times are those goalies gonna fall for the Datsuk in the shootout? There's 3 goalies
Markstrom,
now.
like, you could see Markstrom thought for sure, like he was so mad at himself because he knew it was coming, but he still got it. He was waiting somehow.
For it, and he still didn't save it. Disappointed. I'm disappointed for Yoel Armia. Myself, it's just like, how that Marc Bergevin used to say, some players get you there, some players get you through. Like, Armia, there's nothing to complain about him during the playoffs, but my goodness, he can't score a goal to save his life.
Yep. Yeah, 0 goal this year anyway, this season. So that's not like for me is one of them. Honestly, I was like, my video yesterday is about why to use Joel Armia and power play yesterday. I don't get it again, but you're also right. I think Joel Armia, for $3.4 million, you pay him and don't produce only 2 assists is something you really disappointed about what he performed for the Montreal Canadiens. If I ask you the same question, Marco, which player do you think is the more disappointment for the Montreal?
Probably the most disappointing. That's a tough one, like, because I have very limited expectations for the players that that I don't like, or that I don't think will be, like, I don't get attached to players that I think are going to be flipped or whatever, right? So I look at it from that perspective. I guess I'm the most disappointed in Dadonov, just because I thought he would be able to play a bit better and that he would be able to build up more value so that we get something from him. And it's just been the total opposite. There's 2 Dadonovs, right? There's Dadonov that played in Florida and the 25 last games in Vegas last year. And then there's Ottawa Dadonov. And so the worst Dadonov that you could have is the one that we have, which is Ottawa Dadonov. So that's probably the most disappointing. Armia, like I said, like, I still think he has utility. Like, he still does kill penalties. He has good board battles. I'm kind of like, in most cases, I'm kind of like Veronica, right? Like, I usually like to defend players that are working hard, and that's why I don't always defend Mike Hoffman as much, because I don't find that he works as hard maybe all the time as some of the other players that just aren't performing, and that fans tend to kind of like really load upon, right? Like, it's like when Jake Allen lets a bad goal in, right? Like, I think everybody that's a true Habs fan will kind of like, whoa, like, it's Jake Allen, man. Like, the guy has been carrying us for so long. There's no reason to heap on that guy. But so I'd say Dadonov is probably the most disappointing, just because I was hoping that they would be able to flip him for something.
You're absolutely right about this.
You,
is
Coach?
One of them. One of so many other things, for sure. What are you looking for? I'm sorry, Marco. What are you looking for, Veronica, for the next 2-3 years? What do you think this Montreal should do? Maybe only the next 12 months for helping the team to get better. What do you feel like they should do?
This is, again, like, just it's kind of filling in the holes that are kind of, a little bit leaky in the leaky boat. Like what Marco was just saying, Dadonov, Armia, uh, I don't know, man. I'm so bad at thinking about these things, imagining these things, and I'm always like, quite frankly, I'm usually surprised when things do happen because it's just like, wow, where did that come from? So what can they do? Like, put better players into those spots. But I know that there's a long term vision, right? Like, I think that they might be a little bit ahead of schedule. At least that's the way it's looking right now. But there's a long term vision, so I don't see any particular urgency on the part of Hugo. But yeah, I can't even imagine what they're going to do, and they might surprise us.
So,
Like,
do you
it's not
feel they
always
can make the
what
playoff?
everybody says. Yeah.
What, Marco? Do
Oh
you think?
man, there's gonna be so many mad people if they make the playoffs. I think though too.
I'll take their tears. I'll put them in my cup.
Well, they are really surprised. Honestly, I never thought they're going. If you ask me after 28 games, they're going to be a fifth in the division, and they play with a plus 500. I would say no, I don't see that at all. And when you take earlier, and when you said Martin Saint-Louis, come on, man, he's there only for not winning. Come on, you know better. He's going to try to. That's exactly what he does behind the bench. Every game he makes some move to try to win. Like last Saturday, he tried to move back at the center. He realized after 20 to 40 minutes, wait a minute, we better to bring him at the first line, try to win that game. Yesterday, he played only like 9 forward, and to try to win that game, he played a Suzuki 25, 26 minutes. You're absolutely right when you said earlier, yes, he want to win only. That's why he's the first. He don't really care about the draft pick, or he don't really care about other things. He want to win, 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 win. And it's been this since he play hockey. Whatever, a young age, junior, college, or in NHL, and now he's a coach. He does the same thing. It's about winning. Well, it's nothing wrong with that part, by the way.
No, it's kind of nice. Somebody who likes to win.
Marco?
Well, we've seen what happens. We've seen what happens when there's teams that don't win for prolonged periods of time, right? Like you just learn to lose after a while. And that's something that like when in the preseason when they lost all of their games, that was a huge topic in our community, right? Like we're like, well, it's about progression and it's not about wins, but on the other hand, like they have to have some wins or else you're going to be kind of growing all these kids in a really toxic environment. And same argument as to people that wanted to trade Allen during the summer. I'm like, well, somebody's got to stop pucks, right? Because there's nothing more demoralizing than you're playing a really good game and then 4 bad goals go in. It's just demoralizing for the team. It's impossible to build a winning culture without having like at least a stable goaltender back there, right? So that's why I think Allen, I don't know if I would have extended him 2 years, but it's good that they have him this year for sure.
Yeah, well, that's the whole thing, is that Allen hasn't even been a talking point this season. He had one dud, but Allen hasn't been a talking point this season. Montembeault has been, he's performed quite nicely. He's acquitted himself quite nicely as a backup goalie. And that's kind of like something that we have kind of overlooked, I think, this season, because, at the thought of, oh my God, Carey Price, he's out all season, goal is an extremely important job. And we came from having the team that was just Carey Price to a team that is doing all kinds of things, and there's no Carey Price in the net, and still winning games.
Yep, so right. Marco, any other question?
Yeah, it's one more because I can see that so Veronica, you don't like paying the armchair GM, right? So, but I'll ask you a question more from, I guess, the social intelligence kind of side of thing and get your take on that. But so one big question is going to be Caulfield's contract, right? So I'm not going to get you to guess, what the right number should be and how long and all that. But do you see that it would be awkward between Suzuki and Caulfield if Caulfield were to have a longer or like a bigger number in his contract than Suzuki? Do you think that would cause a problem? Like, they seem to be pretty close, but do you think that would cause conflict? No?
No. No,
Okay.
I don't think it would cause any conflict at all. It's just business. It's a contract. Nick has himself a nice little contract. Obviously, everybody wants to do whatever is possible to, lock up coal for a lot of years. And so, yeah, they're both professionals. You can tell they like each other. They don't just play well together. They hang out together. They're a very nice fit. Where Cole is this, happy-go-lucky and all of that, and Nick is more serious, but you can tell they're very, fond of each other. I don't think so. I mean, I've got in my line of work, I've got colleagues who are at my exact same level, and fortunately, their salaries aren't printed in the newspaper. But I would never begrudge my colleague for getting the best contract possible. And I just don't see it happening between these two players. It's happened before. Salary talks were a cause of friction, circa 2014, 2013, like salaries that were being made, Pacioretty and Subban, et cetera. That kind of toxicity, I don't think exists with Caulfield and Suzuki. I'm going to put my stamp on that.
We're almost at the end of the shows, but we would like to put you on the hot seat. So before you leave, let's go with pepper, every time that hot and spicy. Because you talk about the contract at Cole Caulfield. So Nick Suzuki has $7.875 million per year for 8 years. If Caulfield signed for 8 years, do you expect him to be around that amount, like $8 million? Or do you expect him to be more at 8.5 or $9 million? What would be your prediction about the next contract of Cole Caulfield?
My prediction, $8 million even. $8 million. That's a lot of money.
All right. How many goals is going to score at the end of the year, Cole Caulfield?
How many? What's he at, 16 or something like that right now? Let's go with 57.
All right.
Whoa. Wow.
Is Nick Suzuki get 100 points this year or not?
Yes.
Do you believe the Montreal Canadiens make over 80 points next at the end of the year?
80 points?
82 points, yeah, 500.
Yeah.
All right. Do you believe the Montreal will be in the playoff?
In the back of my mind, the thought is so exciting. Like making the playoffs on the very last day, something like that. I would love it. Do I believe they will? I hope they will. I'm not, tank for Bedard. I'm not.
So is it an answer with your heart or with your brain?
With my heart.
All right. So after that, who do you think they're going to trade? Josh Anderson, Sean Monahan, or Joel Edmondson?
Josh was the first one?
Josh Anderson or Joel Edmondson or Sean Monahan?
Or all three?
No, Anderson. No.
All right. Would you like the Montreal Canadiens extend the contract of Sean Monahan with the Montreal Canadiens?
Yes.
Awesome. Go ahead, Marco.
No, I was just saying, wow.
Okay, I thought you have a comments about what she said.
No. I'm just reacting to your answers. Yeah, that's good. Go ahead. I like this. I like you're definitely putting her in the hot seat. It's enjoyable to watch. For once, it's not me in the hot seat, so it's good.
I want to remind a little bit, go deeper. Like I want to see where are you when you leave in Montreal? What area did you stay in Montreal?
We stayed. To begin with, we lived on DeCarry, but then we moved to, nope, not that, Point Claire.
Okay, sound good. You have two brothers play hockey?
Pardon?
You have two brothers play hockey?
Neither of them played hockey. Like we didn't, my parents didn't know how to skate, and it was just like it wasn't part of our culture. Unfortunately, they're both huge hockey fans. So
now I believe you have some kids. If I follow you at some point, I read something. You have kids, right?
I do.
Which thing they like, the Vancouver Canucks or the Montreal Canadiens?
Unfortunately, they're both Vancouver Canucks fans.
Unfortunately, as a Canucks fans about that.
My son is also a Habs fan.
How they play hockey?
No.
All right. So if
No.
they like the Vancouver Canucks, when you go to the game, mom wear the Canadian Montreal jersey and they wear the Vancouver Canucks?
That's right. I was at the game in Vancouver last Monday with my nephew and my son, and they were both in Canucks jerseys, and I was with my toque and my sweater and all the stuff that everything Habs. And it was fun in the first period, and then it
Who
got
is the
crazy.
best, who are the favorite player for the Vancouver Canucks, by the way, for your son?
Ooh, Bo Horvat.
So what happening if he
That's going to
got
be
traded?
awkward.
Yeah, he's gonna get traded.
And what do you think about Vancouver so far since the beginning of the season? What do you expect for the next? Do you think they will a little bit tanking, like trade Bo Horvat and maybe Brock Bozer, or done it all?
Yeah. Well, it kind of seems like that's the way it's gonna go with, especially all of this talk that's going on with Bo Horvat. But like as I say, like my son also he's a Canucks fan. He's like got really into it this year, and he's very romantic at heart as well, and he just was suffering with the way that the Canucks started the season and kind of how they kind of rode this high and now they're kind of on this lull now. And a lot of his online people and my nephew too, they're all on, it's time to tank for Bedard, and Bedard is a Canucks fan and it's just meant to be. And so I'm just like, yeah, that's fine, you guys can have him. I'd rather play in the playoffs.
That's awesome. Marco, we're almost at the end. Do you have any other question before I come?
No, I think that's honestly, Veronica, so much fun. Like, we'd love to have you again for sure if you'd be open to doing it. It's so much fun to have you. And again, like, if you guys will have us, we'd be happy to jump on your show whenever you like. Just so much fun, kind of getting different points of view. Like we have our little community here, and we've been having our own little Habs discussion. So it's great to bring in kind of like different point of views on kind of how things are playing out so far this year. So much fun to have you. We hope you'll do it again. Sounds like everybody in the chat really enjoyed as well too. So thank you so much for joining us. Any final words, Coach? I guess we're
I
gonna
would
be
like to
jumping
first of
into-
all, before you leave, I would like to a little bit tell us a bit how they can reach you. We talk about you need a podcast, and I don't know if it's regular at specific time with us. So maybe before you leave, to give us a little bit more information how they can reach you. Honestly.
Yeah, thank you. So thanks you guys for having me on. This has been a delight, and anytime you'll have me back, I would gladly join you, and we'll get something figured out so that we can do something with the happy hour as well. But the podcast is the happy hour. I'm on there with my friends at Metal Dave 02 and at Iver8 on Twitter. So that's Dave and Beth. Happy hour. Happyhour.com is the webpage. We have a YouTube channel. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram. And it's all Happy Hour. Happy Hour Pod on Instagram, actually. And then again, you can find me on Twitter and every single other social media platform, including, Mastodon and Post and all of these new things that are going to be the solution to Twitter. So we'll see how that works out. But it's all at CHILE_Pepper.
That's awesome. We really appreciate you give us your time tonight, and I know a lot of people in the chat want to thank you for your time with the Hockey Nation show. I can't wait to see you again. Until the next time, hopefully Montreal Canadiens are going to be a little bit better and maybe to make the playoff until the end of the season. But thanks again, Veronica, to be with us tonight, and we wish you an amazing rest of your evening.
Thank you so much, Coach.
You're
Great
welcome.
talking to
Have
you
a good
guys.
night. Thanks so much. Guys, it was Veronica with the Hockey Nation show for the HNL Tonight show. Marco, what before you leave, what your last impression about this? First of all, she was really nice to take her time, but of course, great comments about something about a Montreal Canadien.
Yeah, like I said, like the whole tone of the happy hour is very positive. So you can see her point of view on everything Habs is very positive. Here in our community, like a lot of people want to see them tank, finish as bottom, as low as they can, right? So it's definitely a different point of view, and that's the beauty of talking about hockey, right? Like different opinions and different points of view on where the team is going, where they would like to see the team going. So Listen, that's the beautiful thing about this channel, Coach. What you've created is a community with all kinds of different people that have different opinions, come from all over the world. So just a great story. Somebody that lives in BC is very passionate about the Habs. Very nice of her to join us, and I hope everybody enjoyed. And I think it was a lot of fun.
Absolutely about this. Really, really nice from her. But of course, you to be a co-host tonight. We appreciate again. Marco
Yeah.
is the co-host of the App Branch. Your Sunday rendezvous every Sunday morning, 11 o'clock Eastern time. We're going to continue this during the next weekend. Again, we're doing it together. Just wanted to give you a little bit information what's going on around the league because it's not looking good for me.
Yeah, I haven't been watching anything, so I'm curious to see what's
Toronto
going on.
7-0.
Oh my God! Wow.
The Panthers
And is
4-0.
that a final score? Is that final
4-0
score?
4-0 Panthers.
But is Toronto final score?
7-0.
Nice. So Samsonov, who's in my hockey pool, I got to shut out again. That's good. That's 2 back-to-back shutouts for him.
Dallas beat the New Jersey 4-1.
Wow. Okay.
The Buffalo Sabres beat the Lesson King 6-0.
What's in the water tonight, Coach? Holy jeez. We have to bring Veronica on more often.
6 goals in the third period, by the way.
Wow.
The Boston Bruins win and shoot out 4-3. We had 6-2 Lightning against the Kraken.
Yeah, I was close to
the Carolina beat the Detroit 1-0. The Oilers winning 5-3. The Jet come back now 4-3. 1-0 the Flyers over the Colorado. 2-1 Washington against Chicago. But 2 goals of Ovechkin. That gave him 699, I believe. Right? And then we have one more game later. Right? So I'm losing again in our top. He was right twice over me. I'm losing again the Dallas, and I'm losing again the Buffalo Sabres.
It looks like I'm going to go more like 500 again tonight. But honestly, right now, this week, I'm more focused on fantasy because I'm playing Entertap this week. And I think he's 7-2, right? So I need my A game. So any points, I'm like you, Coach, like this year, I'm not getting any points at all on my fantasy from my goalies. Finally, my goalies are starting to wake up. I traded Demko for Campbell. So Campbell's been sitting right in the pine a little bit here. So happy that he's going to get a win, and very happy that I got Samsonov because that's 2 back-to-back shutouts. But Toronto, 7-0.
Yeah, 7-0 minor again is a point extend at 23, so it's pretty amazing when 23. You see that. I let friends score tonight. 3 shootout, a couple of shootout the next couple of games around the NHL. Yesterday, Talbot, Bennington did it. We have 4 shootout. Detroit lost 1-0, so just to give you an idea how everything works right now in NHL. And again, it's an up and down season. It's very hard to make prediction. Me, I'm really not good this year. I'm really struggle.
No, we should maybe take advice from Veronica. She didn't really want to make too many predictions. She's a lot smarter than we are trying to make predictions all the time.
Yeah. By the way, how many times did you think it's? How many times do you heard someone said that Martin Saint-Louis is romantic?
It's a romantic. I know. So that's what I mean. Her whole point of view is very different from. But I get what she's saying, right? He is a romantic about hockey. He has kind of a passion and kind of looks at it from a very romantic way. So I've never heard somebody put it that way, but it's a good point. I see it.
Yeah, I can understand the point of view. I think, of course, with the romantic, I think he's positive. He never blasts anybody. He's really careful about what he said. And I think that's the way he said that. And then I think many, other people like the way he act after the game or the press conference, everything like that. And I think he's, like I said, my controversy yesterday about my video was not against him. It was just he said, all right, why not to play Sarkowski? Why not to give it? For me, at the shootout, I will use Sarkowski before Ren Pitlick all the way.
Yeah. Well, Coach, we've talked about it. Exactly like you said in your video. I liked in your video, you were very specific. You were like, guys, I love Martin St. Louis. You said that right off the top, just to make sure that people don't think you're being overly critical. So I'll do the same thing. Guys, I love Martin St. Louis. But that doesn't mean that you can't, discuss certain things that you think you might do differently, right? Like that's kind of why we're here, is to have conversations about that stuff. So again, I'm doubting a little bit how they're dealing with the doc thing. I think it's a missed opportunity not to have him play. Now we know how long Monahan's going to be away.
Yeah.
That is the perfect opportunity to a very set amount of games that you just tell them, say, listen, don't worry about it. I don't care about the results. Don't worry about whether you're going to go back to the wing or whatever. You've got the next 15, 20 games playing center. Boom. Then he can just not worry about it in his mind and just go do it. Right. So that's one thing I question. There's a couple of things that we question about the power play. I don't know if that's more of an Alec Burrows thing as well. But certainly the shootout. I don't disagree with your take on Pitlick being a bit cold. I understand that he wants to give everybody an opportunity to feel involved. That's an important part of keeping a locker room together. Is
I
everybody
will
has
give
to
you
have a
an
role,
extra. What
right?
last season, DJ Smith, or 2 years ago, he put Ketchup, Suzla, and another one. And he said, you know what? This is the best thing for the month for the Ottawa Senators and the future. They need to taste what it looked like to go and shoot out. So
Yeah, yeah,
that's the same thing for me about Sarkowski, because Caulfield
yeah.
was not there. So I can understand what Caulfield is there with Zuski and Doc. That's not a problem. But yesterday was a good opportunity right now. So you know what? Let's go starting with Zuski. Let's go with Kirby Doc. And then after that, look, let's see, have that kind of tasting for the kid for 20,000. Like the kid is so febrile, or he's so go with the tempo of his life right now. Like he's smiling, have a good time. Imagine if he score, what the fan going to react at inside the building. And for me, that's what I said. Who cares? They have 2 point, 1 point at the end of the year. And do you really
Yeah,
believe with Ren
yeah.
Pitlick, or do you really believe with Sarkowski? The same question. Why to put Joel Armia on power play? Why not to put Sarkowski on the 5 versus 3?
It was shocking. Yeah, it was shocking to me that Armia was there. So
I'm
listen,
shocking
coach,
more
I
after the
don't think
game when he said he has some kind of abilities and some kind of qualities to be a player, a power play. All right, but is it really your future of the Joel Armia on your power play number one, and for the next 3-4 years? That's what I'm against him about that part. Why not to do a Sarkowski there? Why not to use Caden Cooley
so.
over Chris Whiteman? And it could be Jakai, it could be Jordan Harris. Use them. Don't use Chris Whiteman anymore. Why to use him? Because I believe the
Because
point we go
coach,
back at the
you've
beginning,
answered it.
he tried to win.
You've answered the question. Exactly. Like we've already cracked the code. He wants to win. Now on Armia, you know, what people have to remember is the previous management team also saw the same thing in Armia. Like I think you were saying that he scored 7 goals in
Yeah.
however many 100 games he's played, but many of those games were during the Bergevin era, and whether it's Ducharme or was it with Claude Julien, they were putting him on the power play because again they probably saw the same attributes that Martin Saint Louis is saying now. I think anybody who is a decent evaluator of a hockey player can see the physical attributes that Armia has. And yes, he does have the physical attributes to play, but it's clear that he's not producing on the power play. So, it comes down to him deciding to play players that are going to give him the best chance to win, which is, again, conflicts with what we thought this season was going to be about.
Yeah,
It's
you're
weird.
absolutely about that. Do you believe Le Cavalier should be or behind the bench next season with Montreal Canadiens?
It's not going to happen. It's
I
not going
don't
to
think
happen
so
because
too.
he doesn't want to, because he wants to live in Florida, right? Like he's not willing to
Yeah.
relocate
It
to
was a
Montreal.
question by
Yeah,
in the chat, so that's why I feel.
yeah,
And we welcome back
yeah.
Ronald Moret. Ronald, welcome aboard. Thanks to be joining us. Washington just scored 3-1. I'm just waiting for who scored a goal. It's a TVR. Trevor Van Ristic about that one there. Anything you want to add before we let you go, or?
No, like I'm curious to go and yeah, watch all the highlights too and see kind of what happened in my hockey pool here. Lots of games tonight. Are there late games or were they all starting at 8?
I'm sorry again.
Are there games starting like at 9 or are they all about to end?
Well, they are most of them. We have only one more game to go. San Jose at 10 o'clock. Most
Oh,
of the games start at 7 o'clock,
okay.
and then some at 8
Okay.
and one at 9 for that one. So that's what most will be early this week. Next week will be late because Montreal are back on the road
Yeah.
next week.
Yeah.
So it'll be like a little bit different about this next week.
What are your
About this.
thoughts for tomorrow? I guess tomorrow you have your daily Habs video coach. I guess you'll be previewing the Ottawa game.
Yeah, tomorrow we do the game 7 o'clock, and then the next day we do Anaheim Ducks. You're leading 37.5 to 34.4.
Wow. Okay, it's pretty close.
Yeah, only 2 points about that one there, and me on
I had a big lead before starting, so
44.6 to 19.9 for me.
Wow, yeah, you had a killer night last night. You were
yeah,
but,
and I didn't put Bennington, and then I hide Grubauer tonight, and Grubauer he has -6, so I'm happy about that decision. I don't use goalie for the rest of the weeks now because I don't need it anymore.
Entertop had 28 points on me tonight, and I have 17 so far. But
yeah, we have a question here for the King of Gamer. With the Devils stack on the goalie, do you think Montreal should be interested in pick up Mackenzie Blackwood and give him a fresh start?
No, thank you. I wouldn't, and I don't think New Jersey is stacked for goaltenders. I don't know about that. Like, I'm not sure I would actually look at maybe adding a goaltender if I was going. Like, Vanacek's been good, but I'm not sure if you have a legitimate shot to take a run this year. I don't think you want to go into the playoffs with Schmid as your backup, right? So at the very least, I'm keeping Blackwood.
Yeah. Dan, have a good night. But I would say to you where the New Jersey have a couple of goaltenders. Have Jonathan Bernier, Blackwood, Schmidt, Nico Dawes, and Vanacek. I think if they trade Josh Anderson over there, I wouldn't be surprised they try to get Nico Dawes or Schmidt in return. And I said a big piece of the puzzle. I would not be surprised they request one of the two goaltenders they have and their affiliation, one of the two. I don't say I would not touch Blackwood, but I think they should look about Schmidt or Nico Dawes if they have that kind of direction.
What pedigree does Schmidt has? Like, again, I know that he's played well this year, but what's his pedigree? I haven't looked into him that much.
For me, what I know and what you said about Nico and him, I think they could become A- goaltender. So it's not like a goalie like Varlamov. It could become more like maybe the best Darcy Quamper, I would say to you, or it could become another lower like Varlamov or Georgiev. But not expect like to be Vasilevsky or Chostakin or something like that.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
Better backup number 2. Right. I've been honest with you, it could become a Jake Allen.
My opinion on this, coach, like I would flip if I was Montreal. I would flip a lot of key assets. I'd be willing to give a lot for an elite goaltending prospect. I just think it's a critical part of any rebuild that we're going to have that's going to be successful.
I would not do that. I would tell you why. Why I would not do that. At least you are an exception like Spencer Knight, right? And those players like this not going to happening for the trade. Now, if you talk about Dawson Wolf, Levi, or Portello in Buffalo, or you can or those players like this, or Yaroslav, and Vegas just started the game 4-4, by the way. So if you think that way, the risk to give and maybe never those, because the goaltender, it takes too long and you never know what you're going to how they're going to become. I think it's too risky. I think the only way you have to do is exactly what many they do. And they go on the UFA and they keep them and they boost better the forward and the defenseman. Look, Colorado, they got Quamper, and look, they got Georgia, they have Frankos. And that's the way they have to go that direction. Carolina go with Anderson. You don't see a lot of big trade to get a goaltender. And I think the risk is too high to go that way. So one example, I get Levi or Wolf Wolf or Caden Cooley. It would be too big risk.
But let's look back over the last couple of years, right? So other than Kemper, who was traded into Colorado or was signed as a UFA by Colorado. So before that, you've got Vasilevsky that won the cup. Before that, it was Binnington. So he comes in through the organization. So he was homegrown through the organization, St. Louis. Who won before St. Louis? It was
Bennington, it was
before
saying,
St.
well,
Louis.
it was a, if I can recall it, is Washington or Pittsburgh. I think it was Washington.
Yeah. So okay, yeah. So Washington, it was homegrown, Holtby. Then Pittsburgh, it was Murray
It was
or Fleury,
Brand
both homegrown,
OB, right? So OB is coming for this organization. Pittsburgh's coming with Matt
yeah,
Murray organization. And then you have to go
homegrown,
with
yeah.
the
So
Kings, come with Quick. Then you have Chicago, come with
yeah,
Crawford.
so yeah. So that's my point is that it's pretty rare that winning a cup is by bringing in a goalie that you've traded for as a UFA. It's very rare. It's usually a homegrown thing. But the only problem is that if we draft a goalie, unless we have one in our system right now, which I don't think we do, like that is to that extent or that is an elite prospect, the only way to bring a goalie that is quote unquote kind of homegrown is to acquire somebody that's already been drafted, a bit older. So maybe you're right, coach. Maybe there is a risk. So, and I might sound crazy, but maybe you get two of them. Like maybe you try to get two elite goaltending prospects. If you have both that end up hitting, that end up doing very well, then you can always flip one of them and get some assets back. But to me, it's such a critical part of the rebuild that I don't think you'll be successful because I don't see a lot of teams being able to win the cup with the average goaltending. We haven't the teams that are kind of plugging like Toronto, Carolina, they've yet to win anything. So I don't know if that formula works.
Yeah, but like this season, like the Montreal have the 2 picks, right? They could use the first pick of Florida with Arbal for the Cheshire team. I think that's the big one. They should look about that one. Then you have the goaltender Bijan Nielsen for the Brandon and the WHL. They are the 2 best goaltender in the NHL draft at the first round this season. That remind us a couple of years ago when they had Wallstead and Kosa. They trade for both team trade to get those to goaltender. I think Montreal Canadiens should do that. And the time they are, when you pick number 1, Marko, they are solid goaltender. They are not like Ulmark second round, a third round pick, or you don't know what you're going to become. You may be good, great, but not amazing, right? But when you go the first round, it's rare they are not become a solid goaltender in NHL. The time they're going to become great at next 3 years, 4 years, they're going to be 22, 23.
5 years.
And they are the first round pick. They are going to be ready at that time. And that's what Montreal should be at their prime and 4 years. So the timing is not too bad.
I don't agree. Like I think Montreal, like to match their window, you want a goalie that's 21 now to kind of
but
match
you cannot
the window.
have. You don't have. It's impossible to get one.
Well, I didn't say why is it impossible?
Because you don't have any goaltender 21 years old good in NHL.
It's going to be expensive, but it's not impossible. Like there are teams that.
But
like,
which
again,
one?
Like
Give me a name right now if you believe he's going to be a top goalie in the next 5 years at 21 years old.
Askarov, Dustin Wolf.
Who?
Dustin Wolf, Askarov in Nashville.
Well, it's not guaranteed going to be a solid goaltender. That's my point
there's
here.
No guarantee.
It's not guaranteed going to get that guy in the goaltender. Like I've been with you, Yarasa for the Nashville. I don't see him a goaltender number 1.
I do, for sure.
You can watch him. He's like 18 years old. You can see him. He's not going to be a goaltender. He's not going to be better to Carter Hart.
I don't know about that. Like again, you have the tough World Juniors. Like I remember that season where he wasn't able to hold his stick during the games. He kept losing his stick during the games, but he's playing really well
all over
in the
map.
AHL.
That's one reason Richaud struggled. Yeah. He was all over the map for 2 years back to back in
Yeah.
World Junior Championship.
At the
So
World Juniors, I know, but
and then Dustin Wolf is only 6 foot. So the risk is too
Saros.
high to spend a first round pick to give a Kenan Cooley or to go that direction to get a goal in, and then there. Secondly, you have to pay a lot. And why the team? If they do this, it will the risk is too much. The best way you go on UFA. That's the best way. You get a goaltender at 30 years old, at 29 years old, 28 years old, been there, and you can spend your money there. And but again, you put your money on the forward, on your defenseman to be sure you're better.
But name me one team other than Colorado last year. Name me one team in the last 15 years that won a Stanley Cup with a UFA 30-year-old goalie that didn't come from their organization.
Yeah, but again, remember the hockey is changing now. And because the salary cap is a problem, they focus the money to put on the forward and to get there. And I think you can see if Toronto win this season, they win with 2 good goalie, but not 2 great goalie.
Yeah.
Right? And I don't know who's going to win the Stanley Cup, but he can. The Devils right now, good goalie, but not great. Boston right now, they are good, but they are not great goalies. They perform well, but it's not like, wow, this is going to be the next Vizina for years to come. I think that's the biggest problem about that. And then for me, I would say to you, you have to wait a little bit longer and to get a UF free at some point. That's the only way they're going to get that. If not, the cost too risky, too much to cost to pay this. The key is to get one at UF free on the draft and see how it's going to develop.
And at the very least, I think you're going to. Where we agree is that it's too risky just to have one. I think you're going to need to have 2 potential number 1 goalies so that they can kind of like share the work, and also to diversify your risk in case one of them doesn't really perform. And again, this is all in the future when we're ready to compete, right? And ready to compete for a Stanley Cup. It doesn't really matter right now. You're fine with having like a 900 goaltender right now if you're fighting for if you're tanking or if you're fighting.
Oh no, right now it's not a problem. Yeah, like I said, I would not trade Jake Allen right now, but in the future they will have to figure out something. Is to one draft next year, and then to pick up one on UFA, something like that, and you can carry on that one over there. And honestly, like people said, trade Jake Allen. I'm telling you right now, guys, you cannot get a lot asset for Jake Allen in return. It does not work in trade deadline. Look about Marc-André Fleury got only a second round pick last season in return. And they don't give a lot first round about any goalies. They have another goalie. I looked yesterday. They trade at the deadline and they get another second round pick. It's not demanding goaltender as a pay at the trade deadline. So I would not trade Jake Allen for me right now. Montreal have nothing and there's nowhere to get that kind of players right there and the goaltender. You need a goalie. Keep the. I would say to you that not the consistency, but more like the calm. Like you get a bad goal. You're not going to see a Jake Allen. At least you give 7 a goal, but he's not lose his frustration. He's not a bad teammate. He's a good role model. I would keep Jake Allen for me. For the next 1 year at least, another year next season, and go from there after that.
Agree.
I think.
Well, it looks like my shutout points in the hockey pool just kicked in, so I just jumped up to 45 points after my Samsonov shutout.
Are you fantasy?
Yeah. Samsonov got a shutout, so that's like 12 points.
You got now 11 point, right?
Yeah. 12 points in total, I think,
on 26.
For Samsonov, baby.
Yeah.
How did you have such a big night last night?
The Chicago come back 2 goals, 3-2 now for Washington.
Chicago is weird, eh? Like Luke Richardson he's like a Jedi, that guy. Like he's really, I don't know, like the 2 teams that surprise me every night, like maybe for the first 10 games, I was almost betting against them every night, but is Arizona and Chicago. And I think early in the season, Tortorella had Philadelphia playing really tight hockey, but Arizona and Chicago, like that's a team that's just put together with scotch tape and peanut butter, and the coach is somehow just keeping them competitive every night. Could you see Tourigny being the next coach for the Montreal Canadiens after St. Louis?
Who?
Tourigny in Arizona?
No.
No?
No. I think Tourigny will stay on the Arizona.
But we're talking like 5-6 years. Like St. Louis is going to be there for at least 5-6 years.
I think he will have more other coach maybe available. For one thing, I would say to you, you have to give credit for Tourigny. What he does a great job over there. He's always been a good coach wherever he's been at the OHL and everything, and he's a good, solid coach over that. But I don't see him. I don't see the connection with Montreal to get him in Montreal. But he's a good one for sure.
Really, yeah.
I think the next one if he's be Benoit Gros with the Tampa Bay Lightning, but they don't let him go for nowhere. He refused to go left and right about that one. Then we have a question for you for King. He asks us, if we have a 5 years plan to be a contender, it take longer to develop goalie. Will not be smart acquire one higher career prospect. And now we draft one goalie in 7 round last draft.
That's essentially what I was just saying, Coach.
But again, I would be back to you. If you draft a first round pick, look Spencer Knight. 2 years after that, he was in NHL. Look what he looked like now. If you look Carter Hart, 1 year after he got drafted, he was in NHL. Look Vasilevsky, after he got drafted, first round pick, he been to the NHL right away after that, 2 years after that. My point is, like, you draft a first round pick, it's go farther, quicker to come back to play in NHL. It's not going to be 5, 6, 7 years like any other. You draft 4, 5, 6, 7 round. That's my point when I said the first round pick. I know he's going to be back with Montreal next season, but I think because the way he's a first round pick, he's going to be great. While Wallstead is not there because Wallstead play in Europe, and that's the contract that you go over there. Kosa, he finished his junior first year. Now his first time he playing at Grand Rapids. So Kosa is going to be there the next 2 years. He's going to be with the Detroit Red Wings for sure. Dawson Wall is going to be there next season. Vladar is going to be out of Calgary, I believe. I think they will go that direction over there. So for me, you draft one a first round pick. If not, you go UFA. If that's my second exit, if we have to go that direction.
Yeah, like I guess the way that I would do a coach is we've talked about this before. Like goaltending is a bit like voodoo, right? So I think you throw a couple darts at the board, right? So you use some assets. Again, they might not have to be former first round picks. Like they don't have to be a Scaroff or whatever. But I see in the chat, Entertap's a big Vemelka guy, right? But you know what? Like we're gonna have so many assets. Not all of these assets are gonna play in the NHL, right? There's not enough contracts with all the picks that we've had in the last 2-3 years. I would rather liquidate. I'm not saying Gouli and those top prospects, right? But some of the top prospects are either drafted last year and the ones we're going to draft this year or even the year before that, like a Mishak or things like players like that. I would rather have more goaltenders in the system and have a couple shots at the lottery to see which one of them pan out, because it's the least well scouted position in hockey is goaltending. It's voodoo. It's really, really voodoo. I'm glad. I think it was somebody in the comments that's telling us that we did add somebody in the organization that has I forget what the guy's name is, but he's specifically a goaltender scout in the west of Canada. I forget we just added him, I guess, like in the end of November. So that was really good news because I've been crying for it since the summer that not a lot of teams have a scouting department specifically focused on goaltenders. So I don't know what the solution is.
I have to give credit. They gave for the last 5 years, they draft one goaltender every year.
Yeah, at least. I think we're going to need to have 5 to 6 really good goaltending prospects in our system, and you just hope that 1 or 2 pan out. Primo, I don't think is going to be it. He's maybe like a good marginal backup. But listen, like in 4 years from now, when we're really ready to compete, I will feel much better about things if we have 3 to 4 prospects that, the year before we're about to really start to get serious, that we're starting to see a clear picture of which one is emerging and which one is going to take us to the promised land, right?
Yeah, I still believe for me that will be the same thing. A UF free and return. That's the only way they can add. If they want to go faster, that's the only way they can do. It will not other things after that. It will be very important. That's what they're looking for the third round pick this season. That's what they try to get another round like at 26, 27, 28 because they pick the 6'6" from Chacha Rabal. He played with the Omar. And then the goaltender is another one. Is 6'3" right now at 17 years old. Is another good goaltender for the Brandon and WHL. They are the best one over there. And Vegas score again a power play 5-4 just right now over the Winnipeg Jet. The Winnipeg Jet just gave away the game in their hands right now. They're scoring overtime. Not overtime.
3 minutes left in
to go. Wow. That's crazy.
3 minutes left in Edmonton, Nashville. Edmonton's still winning 5-3 under 3 minutes to go there.
Yeah.
And I think Hyman just scored an empty net there. So Hyman, I think, is that a hat trick for Hyman?
Yep. He scored 3 goals now. I don't know who has Hyman. Nice. Avalanche 1-1. The Capitals score now 4-2. And that's pretty much it. So we have one more game to watch after that. So I'm not going to have a good night overall but not a good night. Versus NRTAB, he completely destroyed everybody right now. But for me, I was going to be 2 less behind him. So it's not a bad night for me. Maybe 8-4 tonight. It's not bad at all. But NRTAB is going to get maybe 11-1 or 10-1, 10-2. That's pretty good about that. And should be many people I think should have a good night. Where are you right now?
I don't have my predictions in front of me, but from what I recall, it's not very good.
Really? I think I follow you tonight. I think you were pretty good overall. If you think about this, you have Toronto, right?
Yeah, I have Toronto.
Florida?
Yeah, I chose Florida.
You have with me, you took Devils with me, you took New Jersey.
Yeah, let me just go into my email, I'll tell you.
You lose that one. Then you took Buffalo or the Kings?
I think I took the Kings.
Okay. The Bruins?
Yeah, I took Los Angeles 4-2. I took Boston 4-3. What was the final score there?
4-3.
Okay. Carolina. I had Detroit 3-2 over Carolina.
Okay, that's the one you don't have. Like me, I got Carolina. Yeah. Okay. You take Tampa Bay?
I took Tampa.
Edmonton?
I took New Jersey 4-2. Edmonton, I took 5-3. I was close on that one.
Vegas, Golden Knight?
Vegas, I had Winnipeg 4-3.
Here we go. Colorado just scored, by the way. And you're going to be about 8-4 at the end of the night. Or 7-5.
Colorado's losing still?
No, winning 2-0. 2-1 right now. They cannot just score. And short and done.
Nice.
Yeah.
Man, so, I love that guy.
Adam is in the house. 5-1 with 1:36 to go. The Vegas winning right now. So that's pretty much what we have tonight. It was pretty good to talk about all the different game about this. And that's pretty much what we have tonight. I don't think so. We have anything you want to add before we're there? I think we have a good conversation. We want to thank again, Veronica. I think it was nice to have her tonight. We try to bring more people. I think not every night, but I think it would be fun to have some people again. And wait a minute. I think we got something happening here. And the Vegas score in empty net, by the way, 6-4. But
Ovi?
Luc Laforcine said Ovechkin score again. It's not reported
yet. Let me just turn this around because I can actually see my TV this way.
That's all right. I did not see the goal yet for the Washington Capitals. I said 4-2, but I think that one tonight now is a battle for the second place. I did not see the goal of Washington's 4-2 right now.
Well, it looks like Enertap is going to lose more points. Enertap, did you dress Hellebuck tonight?
Ooh. Really?
6 goals.
Someone asking me a goaltender tonight. I said, you should wear. You should put him in.
Yeah,
I think.
you're the. Yeah, I think you recommended to him that he dress Hellebuck, so that's a bit on you, I think. Yikes.
I
Okay.
tried to get that game over there. I like my little box. My box gave me all the game. I don't have to pay for that one. Um,
Yeah, I'm
but
not gonna say which TV provider I'm with, but I get center ice for free. You know, like center ice. Like I tried to cancel my cable service with my provider, and that was the win back plan that they gave me. They're like, "Do you watch hockey?" I'm like, "Yeah," and they gave me center ice for free for life. So
wow.
now I have this amazing center ice package, but I can never change my TV package. If I want to change one channel, I lose my grandfathered plan. So I'm locked in, but it's worth it because it's free center ice. It's really good.
All right. So that's what I get. Yeah. Thanks, Coach. Last time I listened to you. Not that- yeah, I should listen to you tonight.
Oh
I
man.
think my prediction will be better about that. I cannot believe the
Yeah.
Buffalo beat the Kings 6-0.
Yeah. Like I thought for sure that they would be a little bit down with no Skinner. Like I think we both said the same thing. No Skinner. Like that's going to be a bit of a problem. I haven't seen who scored or anything, but like I said before, Coach, Buffalo is must-see TV. It's one of my favorite
2 goals
teams
for
to follow
Thompson
right now.
again.
They're so much fun. Again, my God, man, that guy is a freak of nature.
Yep.
And what's amazing about him is all the different ways that he scores. He reminds me a little bit of Stamkos the year that he was on fire, like scoring 60. Because Stamkos, even today, is a really good goal scorer, but he scores kind of like Caulfield. He scores all of his goals shooting from that left circle, right? But the way that he's scoring right now, Thompson, it's like all the different ways, right? Like the crazy moves that he's doing, like deking through people, and then he still has a amazing one timer, but he's scoring in all kinds of different ways right now and just unstoppable. Like what? Like have did you see something in his development that is it just confidence? You think, Coach? Like if you look at his player cards from 2 years ago, like it was
About
very hard to predict.
Thompson,
Like this was yeah
but if you watch him when he played on the U18, he was like already he was dominate everywhere. Like he's been dominate
yeah
everywhere. Now he did not carry on this at the beginning. You know,
St. Louis
some players adjust themselves quicker, faster. Remember that Caulfield struggled with Dominic Charm, right? It
yeah
was just about his confidence, everything like that. Everybody talk about Martin Saint Louis when he come back and then he changed, he become better, right? But nobody talk about his travel to Wisconsin to talk with uh, Granado, coach over there.
Granado yeah
And
yeah
he sat with
yeah
him and he explained to him and they talk each other. And since that trip, Caulfield he stepped up, everything like that. It's not easy. Another player we said to you, look, Alex Turcotte. Alex Turcotte was draft 7
yeah
overall pick by the Los Angeles King,
yeah
8 rank before Cole Caulfield. Cole Caulfield and
yeah.
Turcotte played together at Team USA. They was dominate over there. And look, again, Turcotte is never make it yet. He struggled. And Thompson, it took him a couple of years before he become. It's about execution, it's about speed. Readjust your decision. One thing Montreal Canadiens doing well right now for the new development, the new coach, everything like that, or the new management, they're really looking for player smart. They try to find a player with an IQ and another level of IQ or hockey sense, everything like that, at only looking for the speed or something like that. They really believe that's the reason why they took Kirby Doc because they really believe his hockey sense is the way he play because he's so smart, make him a very good candidate to become a good hockey player in NHL. That's why they really select those players when they select those at the draft. So it'll be really interesting next season. We're going to go because I start to study the NHL draft 23. And like I said, I'm a little bit worried about what you're going to get if they pick 7, 8,
Where
9, 10.
do you think Smith will be available there?
Oh, yeah. Will Smith will be the pack right there. Will Smith is the one, yeah, speed, very good hands, everything like that. I looking for Charlie Stramel. Charlie
I know you've
Stramel
been
is a
talking.
really
You're
good.
big on him, eh?
I'm sorry?
You're big on him. You're big on him, eh? Like you've been mentioning him since the summer.
Yeah, the key about Charlie Stramel is right now he's jumping from. He did not do the road of the CHL. He jumped from 18 years old, go to straight on the college, and he did not perform well in the college again compared to Adam Fantilli example, right? So it's a little bit time to readjust himself, everything like that. But listen, he's a big center at 6'3". I think Stramel could be a pick. Now, you can have other players who can look, because it's still early. And people say, come on, no. You have to go until after the World Junior Championship. And then after that, you have to see what they look like in the spring before you really realize, because last season, think about Marco Kasper. Kasper in October last season, it was at the end of the first round pick, 24 to 32. He become number 8. He's increasing his value every month. And that's you can get other
and then
players.
you have Lambert on the other side of the spectrum.
The kids from the Flowers, they pick not Tyler Boucher, but Gauthier. Gauthier have an amazing, great year so far. But he stepped up. He wasn't expected to be 5 and last October, but he go up over there. So you have some player like this. Will Smith pick it up a couple of value for the last couple of months, and he have an amazing, great start at the beginning of the season with Team USA. So it'll be interesting to watching him for sure. But it's a great asset could become a top 10. And you have a couple more players you can, it all depends preference and the people talk about this, but Will Smith is one of the top over there for sure. But again, like I said yesterday, you have a big difference between the top 4 and then after that. It's not like the people was expect the NHL draft 23 will be one of the best. You have a big difference between after that between the super elite and the player following.
Where do you have Sale? Is he still in your top 10?
I'm sorry?
Sale? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, so Edouard Sale is another player. I think Sale is coming from Czechia or Finland.
Yes. Button had him like number 2, I think. I like it as
no, Sale is right now around
list.
10 and NHL. Like
not for Craig Button.
Yeah.
For Craig Button, he had him way higher. He had like a number 2 or something.
But Sale did not have a good he did not have a good World Junior Championship during the
neither did Dvorsky though either, right?
Yeah, during the last
I thought it was
I tried to get
Dvorsky.
him on the elite prospect. Sometimes elite prospect is not good.
Dvorsky didn't have a good World Junior either.
If you don't get the first letter, I try to use this. We'll see what I have here. I don't have it right now. I apologize.
That's okay. So they right now, I think a lot like the consensus list is Edward Sale is at number 7. The consensus right now is Bedard, Fantilli, Leo Carlson, Mitchkoff, Will Smith, Zach Benson, Edward Sale, Dvorsky, Yeager, Matthew Wood, Coldy Barlow, and then right now we're 12th. We'd be picking Oliver Moore. Then there's Andrew Crystal, Riley Het, Ryan Leonard, which is our pick, number 15. Caleb Ritchie, Gabe Perreault, Casper Halatunen, Cameron Allen, and then Ethan Gauthier to 22. Charlie Stramel is ranked 28th right now.
Yeah. No, you have to think about this, Marco. Like, you have to think about this. Another one I would say to you is Zach Benson is another one, and Brandon Yager is another one with Colby Barlow. Now, you have a center for Sweden, Otto Stenberg. Is another one I will pay a little bit more attention about this. Is another smart key player, center winger. Play behind Leo Carlson, I think, if you from. He's the best, second best Sweden players over there. And like I said, Czechia is coming from, Sally is coming from Czechia, by the way.
Yeah, yeah. I really like Zach Benson, but he's small, right? Like, but if you're gonna get a small guy, he would be the top small guy. Like he has so much character, so much energy. That guy. I'm a huge like. If I had to choose, if I couldn't get Santilli or Bedard, I love Jaeger. I think he's going to be a really good player.
I think
I
another
know he
one you have to
hasn't
look is
had the
Callum
year.
Ritchie
Yeah, he's a good player too, man, for sure.
for Oshawa. The
We'll
Oshawa is
see.
a
Like,
good team this season.
see,
I'm not
you're
sold at
right. Like
Aiden Kochi, by the way.
with who?
Aiden Kochi for Sherbrooke.
No,
But when I said
you're
they
not
put
sold with
him
him, eh?
like a top 12, I don't see him yet as a top 12.
Nah, yeah, maybe not top 12.
I don't
Maybe
think
not top
so.
12.
I think the Sharks just scored 2 goals.
They're wearing those uniforms again, eh? Like, seems like the reverse retros are getting a lot of games, unless they're just doing it all at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
I love those uniforms, man. They're so nice.
Yeah,
What's your
it's
favorite retro?
2-0 right now. They just scored the first 2 goals in the first 5 minutes over there. Washington 4-2, guys. Colorado 2-1. They are the only 3 game in action. And the Winnipeg Jets come back to another goal, but not good enough. 6-5.
Sorry, Intertap.
1 second at the end of the game, by the way. So Vegas surprised the Winnipeg Jet. Are you shocking, or do you feel a bit like the Jet and the Devils struggled for the last 10 games? What? Maybe not that's good, but they not play at the same level they was before that. Are you concerned about the Devils? Are you concerned about the Jets?
No, 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 I don't think so. Like I don't think that the Devils were able to sustain that level for that long. But no, I still think that they're playing good hockey. But I think again, like we talked about goaltending, like I don't think their goaltending is elite either, right? So I do want to take this opportunity, Coach, to correct something that I said the other night when we were talking about the Leafs. When we were with Intertap, I had said something that, hey, the really impressive thing about these Leafs is that it's not the goaltending that's carrying them. It's their overall game. But I stand corrected. Like I saw today that their saves above goal expected is actually third in the league, which means, and by the way, Montreal is I think fifth.
No, they are
So
number 4.
that's number 4. Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah. So
the
very high.
Blue was out tonight. I don't know. It was. I watched so many things. I don't know what they are, but I think if I can recall, it
We
was the
probably saw this.
calendars. Number 1.
Yeah.
I think it's Nashville Predator, but I could be wrong. The Toronto, and then you have the Montreal Canadiens.
Yeah. They were both in the top 5.
Yeah, and
So
Samsonov got a
against,
shootout tonight.
Yeah. So that goes a little bit against my hypothesis. Like I still think. Remember we were talking about that metric of like defensive touches by forwards being a really good indicator of how well they're playing. And I still think that's true. But there's so many positive things happening with Toronto. Like so, their goaltending they're just playing out of their minds. Their top players are playing like Selke candidates, right? Like they're coming back, they're back checking, they're like winning pucks in the defensive zone and breaking out pucks quickly, and they're getting balanced scoring. So I just wanted to correct that because I was not giving the goaltending enough credit. And again tonight it's proven with Samsonov with another shutout. But again, like it's this Leafs team, like I didn't think they were going to be able to have that much of a big turnaround. Like after that tough start, like I knew that they were going to stabilize, but I didn't think they were going to do exactly the same thing as last year, go like 15-2, and it's just crazy what they're doing right
Well,
now.
if you think about this tonight, they have goal from Brody, Kerfoot, Bonding, Kerfoot, Al Egval, and then Anderson. So if you have the bottom 6 on your defenseman score, and you have already the big gun score the next other game, whatever it is, I think you're going to get those kind of results. I still believe I said at the beginning season, not the fact like Toronto, but the fact like Tampa Bay are not the same team. By the fact the Florida Panthers are the same thing, and I'm shocked by the Boston Bruins. I thought the Boston Bruins would not be where they are, right? that's the
No,
reason I
yeah,
put Toronto have a better year and a year to go through the first round and this upcoming year because I think and the finales Fingal Derby. If I if I'm Toronto right now, I have one player I'm going to try to get is Jordan Munson to cut to sub. But the point why want him and not Chill Crown or today because the cost would be cheaper to get Jordan Munson to get another thing, and he
to
fits
fit him.
perfectly
Yeah,
well
yeah,
and
yeah,
what
yeah.
they have. It fit. They go right there, the second chair, and you get that situation. The window to win a Stanley Cup, it's not a lot, and you can add those kind of additional players. I think that would be the one way I would like. Then after that, go get a Cogliano. Like I'm not saying like Cogliano specific him, but a player like Cogliano in NHL, and maybe another one like that with a little bit more four checker or something like that at the bottom six. And I'm just mentioning maybe Nick Bonanno. I don't know. I just mentioned name right now. I think that we're helping the Toronto Maple play because otherwise they are pretty good on every other asset they have right now. They went, you know what I mean? Like the goaltender is pretty good. If they had him and Munson, I think it would be solid for them for the upcoming for the series playoff. Would be really interesting to see both of that what is going to be.
Yeah, I don't
Next.
think they could make that fit. What did you think of his press conference? I think it's a smart move just to have the statement go out. To me, that is the official end. Like it sounds. First of all, do you think it's crazy that the number that Vancouver offered him is starts with a 7? I was
Oh yeah.
shocked. Like that. Like so to me, isn't that just the management basically saying we don't want to sign you? Like
Well,
either they're
it's a
delusional.
negotiation, right? If you cannot go ahead and get drop back at 7, right? It's same thing happening with Spencer Knight. The Florida Panthers got cut when they offer him a 4.5, and now they cannot come back lower when they say other contracts signed lower, not what they expect. So they got
Yeah.
cut. So they have to be a little bit careful about those stuff like that. But both of that can fit in Colorado. Both of that can fit in Carolina. Both of that can fit with New York Islanders. The three team I think they're going to
Oh yeah.
raise for him will be both of that. Don't be surprised in the next couple of weeks, Jacob Chikrin is going to be with Florida Panthers. I think it's
They could use
underdog,
him.
but I think Chikrin have too much connection with the Florida Panthers to get there, and they need a defenseman, and they need a left
How do
defenseman.
they make those numbers work though? How do they make the numbers work on that one?
I'm sorry.
How do you make the numbers work on that one though? Who are you sending back? Like they have to move back salary, right?
Yeah.
Florida.
So you talk about the Florida Panthers with Arizona?
Yeah, what are they moving out of in
Are
terms
they
of their
going
own
to get their
salary to
first
make
round
that work?
pick for a first round pick? They're going to give a two prospect, a sort if possible over there. I think there'll be one they were looking for. They're going to give their best prospect they have. Then they're going to add maybe an Eponiami or some or a Denisenko as the number 3 over there, and that would maybe give them a second round pick after that.
But no, but I meant in terms of how do they make the money work in Florida? What do
Well,
they
he's
have
only at
for cap right now?
4.5.
Yeah, but aren't they right up against it,
But what happened
Florida?
in there? They were going to they will maybe keep that money there, and then going to give me maybe Orvis or something like that at $5.5 million.
Hey, listen, if you can make the money work in Florida with like, and do they even have first round picks? Like they have Montreal has it this year.
No, but not
Didn't they
this
trade
season, but
next year
maybe in
too?
25 or 24, 25, something like that.
Wow. I because I think so they don't have one. They don't even have their 2025.
Uh,
They don't have their first for 23, 24, or
23,
25.
24, 25. Yeah.
Wow. So they don't even have a first round pick. If you're Arizona, you're not trading for a 2026 first round pick, right? Like that's insane.
No. So what you're doing
You
right
might
now,
as well buy like a
you gave them the first second round pick 23, the second round pick 25th example, right? And then you have to look about okay, what we have in the prospect over there for them.
not much.
You have Justin Sorzif. I think that's the one they should look about this one over there. That would be the best player they have right now with Eponiami.
That's by no means a blue chip. That's by no means a blue chip prospect, right? Like
Yeah. And then are we looking about maybe even Nose as a defenseman for them if they want to not give them a first round pick. So if you don't give a first round pick, you have to give them a first round pick. It's been drafted in the past over there, two of them. So if they want to go that direction, they have to go that way. If not, they don't have anything in NHL to fix their problem and the Florida Panthers.
Because they only have
you can win. You cannot win, Marco, with Kestev, Mahura,
no,
and Max Stahl.
I'm not saying that. I agree. Like I'm on the record saying like Florida's decor is it's terrible. Like, but they only have $600,000 on their cap, so I don't know. Like, you have to provide value for Arizona. They're looking for 2 first-round picks and a top prospect is what's been told that what they're waiting for. So it doesn't seem like Florida has the assets to do that. And even if they did, they would need to send a bad contract back to Florida, or sorry, back to Arizona. And Arizona, why would they do that? You already don't have the assets I want. Why am I taking a bad contract on top of that too? Like, I just don't know if they're good partners. Other than the fact that they desperately need him, that doesn't make it possible for them unless they're willing to move like Bobrovsky. Like, if you can move Bobrovsky to someone, maybe that, to me, that's the biggest problem there right now is you have Knight that's ready to take over, and then you have like a Carey Price like contract weighing you down. He's got another 4 years.
Yeah,
3 years.
Bobrovsky will not go nowhere.
No, so they're probably even more screwed than Montreal is with the Gallagher contract and stuff like that. Like, those are really bad.
Yeah,
really hard to move.
So it'll be really interesting how they're going to react over there for sure. But again, Chikra is going to be moved about that, and then it will be, like I said, the both of that, it ran already, can hurt the Montreal Canadiens with.
I'm concerned that with Monahan's injury, like that's the worst case. Like, if buyers have any type of doubt around whether he's going to be healthy and ready to contribute at playoff time, his value, he's going to be worth less than like crypto. Like, he might as well call him Sean Crypto Monahan. That's not going to be good. So they need to make sure don't rush him back. I heard the report was, okay, well, he's going to start playing when he can play with pain again. No. Like, just let him just let him heal. He's got a broken foot. Let it heal good. If he comes back a month before the deadline and is playing healthy, that's fine. But I'm just really concerned about not managing this asset properly. Him and Edmondson, in my opinion, are two only real chances to get a first round pick in this year's draft. So it looks like one of those took a really serious hit with that injury. So we'll see how that plays out.
It'll be really interesting how they're going to turn around. I think Sean Monahan, like I said, behind Borat, Renner Raleigh will be very hard for them. Montreal have a lot of work to do anyway for the next couple of weeks for figure out maybe trying that.
Yeah.
So we go to the end. I don't know if you realize that, but Marco, once she was with us, we have about 40 people. Once she left, we're only 20.
Yikes. I guess, well, we're clearly not more attractive than Veronica, so sorry if I let the show down. I'll try to make myself look more attractive next time and keep the aesthetics to the same expectation that Veronica had when she was here. But Veronica has a lot of charisma, and it was a lot of fun to have her, Coach, and it was fun. It was a good night.
That was great. Thank you to invite her, by the way, Mr. Marco. We have a lot of people in the chat said hi. Alexandre Meilleur, welcome back in the house. Luc Lafortune, we have King of Gamer in our tab. They talk about the trade. Randy Walkman just left the building, and we appreciate everybody. We did not talk too much in the chat. We apologize. It's just a special night tonight. We did that. But we'll be back tomorrow at 6 o'clock with Mr. Enartap, where you have an amazing, great night of prediction. And then we'll be back after that following by the Montreal Canadiens. Big game again, Ottawa Senators. Just go quicker. What do you expect tomorrow again, Ottawa Senators?
Ottawa's going to be hungry. Montreal confident after a big win. Montembeault expected in net. So it should be a tight game, but historically Montreal does not fare super well. Looks like Doc will continue to be on that top line, so should be an exciting game. Ottawa is always high event hockey. They don't play shutdown defense, so should be a fun night. Either way, should be a high scoring game. We'll be here covering it. We'll be here chatting about it. We hope you join us then.
Yeah, absolutely about this one there. But before we leave, we want to thanks everybody to be a part of the show tonight. First of all, Marco, thanks to be with us. But I want to finish with this word. I think we create all kind of community about, we always to be respectful, but also we want everybody to be happy and to have a good life, everything like that. But I want to sharing only one thing with the prayer and the thought to Kevin Francis. Kevin has been with us a couple of times for represent the Ottawa Senator and for the Hockey Nation Live Show, the family. We like to pray for him and our thought prayer for Kevin Francis. So I just want to share with you, Marco, and hopefully it turn around to be better for him in the next couple of weeks for Kevin Francis.
Yeah, good thoughts for Kevin for sure. Thank you, Coach.
You are awesome.
Yes, you are, Marco, again.
Amazing. You are the best. And remember, you have greatness inside of you.
Here we go, Mr. Marco. Thanks so much again for your participation tonight. For everybody, we wish you an amazing, great night. Be well, be healthy. Find a way not only dominate your day, but find a way to dominate the second half of what?
December
2022. Have an amazing, great night, Marco. See you tomorrow next time.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.
Maybe. Oh, what do I know?
Thank you, Marco. In our chat, King of Gamer, RG Calabro, Danny, thanks so much, everybody. Lift up Hoffman, thanks so much.
Really want to know what's going on now. Is this another breakdown? You and me, should I say so? We're just putting on a show. Come on, get a grip now of all the ways we parted. You showed in your own way we would stand and we would fall united. Come on, get a grip now. Just finish what you started. Don't like the feeling that
Thank you,
I've been
William.
deceived and
Lift
so
up Hoffman,
misguided.
Danny T.
Oh, oh, oh. What do I know? What's going on now? Is this another breakdown? You and me, should I let go? I do really want to know what's going on now. Is this another breakdown? You and me,
It's
should
over,
I say
look.
so? We're just putting on a show. What's going on now? Is this another breakdown? You and me, should I let go? I do really want to know what's going on now. Is this another breakdown? You and me, should I say so? We're just putting on a show.
Oh, 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 oh.